Why deep sleep begins with Zen mantras, emotional reset every night. You've tried music, melatonin, even late-night scrolling, but the racing thoughts and emotional heaviness still keep you awake. What if the missing piece isn't just sleep hygiene, but sound that heals? In this video, you'll discover why deep sleep begins with Zen mantras, and how they don't just relax your body, but gently reset your emotions. Night after night, stay with me until the end for a special practice you can start tonight to sleep deeper, wake clearer, and return to the calm you've always had within. In tonight's journey, before we begin, a gentle note: this isn't just a video, it's a space. A quiet space where you are allowed to pause, to breathe, to let go. There will be moments of silence woven into this journey, no voice, no words, only soft music and your breath. These are not empty spaces. They are part of the meditation. Moments for your mind to rest, for your heart to soften. Let them hold you, not rush you. And as we near the end, you'll notice the sound gently fading, easing you into deep sleep. Without effort, if you are still here, fully present until the last breath of this journey, you'll receive a small gift, a simple bedtime practice. Not just to help you sleep, but to slowly, gently, transform how you live. Let us begin now, together. In gentle 1. Zen and the art of deep sleep. In the quiet hours of the night, when the world begins to slow and the noise of the day begins to fade, we often find ourselves alone with our thoughts. The body yearns for rest, but the mind, restless, cluttered, anxious, refuses to yield. For millions in the modern world, especially across America, deep sleep is not just elusive. It feels like a lost art. But in the philosophy of Zen, sleep is not a battle to be won or a technique to be hacked. It is a sacred opportunity, an invitation to return home to oneself. Zen teaches us to live in the present moment, free from the tyranny of mental chatter. That same principle applies to how we approach sleep. Zen Master Dogen, the founder of the Soto school of Zen in Japan, once wrote, "To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be awakened by all things." This simple, powerful truth lies at the heart of deep sleep. In true sleep, we surrender the ego, forget our ambitions and regrets, and rest in the arms of reality just as it is, unfiltered, ungrasping. From a Western psychological perspective, deep sleep is essential for emotional regulation, memory consolidation, and bodily repair. But Zen offers something even more profound: the understanding that sleep is a return to non-doing, a state of pure being. In meditation, we learn to observe without judgment. In sleep, we go one step further, we dissolve. We no longer observe, we simply are. And in that stillness, healing begins, not just of the body, but of the spirit. Yet why is it so difficult for many of us to sleep deeply? It's not merely the screens or the caffeine. It's the attachment to doing, to achieving, to controlling. We carry the day into the night, unable to let go of what we cannot fix, fearing that if we don't keep thinking, we will fall apart. But in Zen, letting go is the path. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. The moment we stop clinging, we begin to float. That's when deep sleep becomes possible. There is a beautiful story in Zen about a student who asked the master, "What is Zen?" The master replied, "Eat when you are hungry, sleep when you are tired." The student was confused. But doesn't everyone do that? The master replied, no, most people don't truly eat when they eat. And they don't truly sleep when they sleep. This profound simplicity cuts to the root of the issue. We do not sleep deeply because we are not truly present in the act of sleeping. To cultivate deep sleep through a Zen lens is to honor the ritual of winding down. Not just turning off the lights, but turning inward. It means treating bedtime as sacred, not just functional. Dimming the room, breathing with intention, speaking a simple mantra or affirmation like, I release today, I welcome rest. These are not hacks, they are acts of reverence. When we allow ourselves to enter sleep as we would enter meditation, with awareness, without expectation, we create the conditions for natural, restorative rest. The mind quiets not because we force it, but because we stop feeding it. The breath softens. The body remembers its rhythm. The soul finds its rhythm again with the universe. Scientific studies increasingly support what Zen has known for centuries. Mindfulness before bed improves the quality of sleep. But more than that, it shifts our relationship with rest from a means to an end, to a way of being. Deep sleep, then, is no longer a goal to achieve, but a space of grace to return to every night. In a culture obsessed with productivity, perhaps the most radical thing we can do is to sleep well. Not to escape, but to integrate, not to numb, but to heal. Zen does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be present. And in that presence, even in the darkness of night, you may discover that sleep is not an absence of life, but its most intimate expression. So tonight, as you lie down, let your pillow become a temple, your breath a chant, and your body a bell of stillness. Allow the teachings of Zen to cradle you, not as philosophy, but as experience. Let go, let be, and perhaps, without trying, you will fall not just into sleep, but into awakening. 2. Healing through sacred sound. There is a profound stillness that arises not from silence, but from the right sound, a sound that doesn't invade the mind, but frees it. In the world of Zen, sound is not merely a vibration through air, it is a gateway into presence. And among all the sounds used in spiritual practice, mantras, repeated sacred phrases or syllables, hold a unique place. For the modern seeker, particularly in a fast-paced, emotionally charged society like the United States, healing mantras for deep sleep offer more than relaxation. They offer a way to gently unravel the tight knots of emotional tension and return to the simple experience of being. Zen, though minimalist in its teachings, has long acknowledged the role of sound in meditation. The strike of a bell, the chant of a single syllable, the subtle intonation of breath itself, each serves as a tool for anchoring awareness. But unlike cognitive methods of self-help, mantra meditation doesn't ask you to solve your problems. It invites you to let them dissolve, word by sacred word, breath by gentle breath. Psychologists and neuroscientists now recognize the value of repetitive, calming sound patterns in shifting the brain from beta wave activity, associated with problem-solving and alertness, into the slower, deeper rhythms of alpha and theta waves. These are the states where deep sleep and emotional integration become possible. But long before neuroscience caught up, Zen practitioners understood that when a mantra is repeated, not mechanically, but with presence, it begins to soften the habitual grip of thought. Take, for example, the ancient mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, central to Mahayana and Tibetan traditions. It is more than a string of syllables. It is a living vibration believed to awaken compassion and purify the heart. When whispered gently before bed, it doesn't require theological understanding, it requires sincerity. Its rhythm becomes your breath. Its sound becomes your anchor. In the context of sleep, it is not a tool to lull you into unconsciousness, but a passageway into conscious letting go. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." In the same way, a healing mantra becomes an anchor not just for sleep, but for emotional stability. Instead of replaying a conversation that hurt you, or fearing tomorrow's uncertainties, you chant a sacred sound. And with each repetition, you hand your suffering to the present moment, where it melts. For those healing from anxiety, grief, or emotional burnout, deep sleep is not just a luxury, it is medicine. Yet medicine is most effective when the body and mind are willing to receive. The mantra prepares you for that receptivity. It slows the breath, synchronizes the heartbeat, and signals to the nervous system, it is safe now. You can rest. Importantly, mantra in Zen is not about volume or linguistic accuracy. It is about energy and intention. Whether you use a Sanskrit chant, a Japanese sutra, or even a soft English phrase like, "I am home," or "This moment is enough." The key is to feel it, not recite it. Let the mantra arise naturally with your breath. Let it be felt in the body, not just heard in the mind. In some Zen monasteries, evening rituals involve group chanting, not to please a deity, but to settle the collective mind. The sound creates unity, coherence, a return to harmony. In your own bedroom, alone in the dim light, the same effect can be cultivated. Turn off the noise of the world. Light a candle, sit or lie comfortably, breathe, and chant, not for performance, but for peace. One of the most moving insights comes from Carl Jung, the great psychologist, who once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Mantras, especially before deep sleep, help bridge that gap between the conscious and the unconscious. They become the gentle torchbearers, lighting the way for what needs to be seen, healed, and released in the silent theater of the night. And so, the next time you prepare for bed, consider making sound your companion, not a podcast or a show, but a sacred utterance from the heart. Let your mind grow quiet in the repetition. Let your emotions settle into the gentle rhythm. Allow the sacred sound to carry you across the threshold, from waking into dreaming, from resistance into surrender, from noise into the deep, healing silence of sleep. This is the gift of mantra within the Zen way, not a chant to escape the world, but a sound to embrace it, hold it, and finally, release it, one breath, one syllable, one sacred night at a time. 3. Emotional reset through stillness. In a world where feelings are often pushed aside, labeled as inconvenient, or over-intellectualized, Zen offers a revolutionary approach. It doesn't ask us to fix our emotions, suppress them, or even name them. It asks us to sit with them, breathe with them, and in doing so, transform them, not by effort, but by non-resistance. For those lying awake at night, tangled in the emotional residue of the day, regret, grief, anxiety, or quiet numbness, this invitation can be both unfamiliar and deeply healing. The concept of an emotional reset is often discussed in modern wellness culture, typically referring to a set of behavioral shifts: diet, digital detox, journaling, self-care routines. While these have merit, Zen points us in a different direction, inward. The emotional reset we truly seek begins not with action, but with stillness. It arises from the radical act of pausing, of simply allowing emotions to exist in the spacious field of awareness without trying to manage or fix them. Zen master Shunryu Suzuki once taught, "Leave your front door and your back door open. Let thoughts come and go. Just don't serve them tea." The same can be said of emotions. When we lie down to rest, we often bring with us the emotional echoes of the day: a disagreement, a disappointment, a deep loneliness masked by busyness. Rather than pushing those feelings away, Zen encourages us to witness them gently, as clouds passing through an open sky. This gentle witnessing is not passive. It is powerfully active in its receptivity. Emotional healing begins the moment we allow ourselves to feel completely, without judgment, and recognize that even the most difficult emotion is impermanent. In Zen, impermanence is not a poetic idea, it's a lived truth. Fear arises, it peaks, it fades. Sadness comes, it deepens, then softens. If we don't resist the wave, we're not drowned by it. We're carried to shore. At the heart of many sleep disorders in modern America, particularly among adults navigating careers, families, and personal transitions, is not merely insomnia, but unresolved emotional energy. The mind refuses to rest because the heart hasn't been heard. Zen practice before bed, therefore, becomes an act of inner listening. The silence we enter is not empty, it is filled with compassionate attention. One practical approach rooted in both Zen and contemporary psychology is the practice of body-based awareness before sleep. As you lie in bed, simply bring your attention to each part of the body, noticing where tension or sensation is strongest. Often, this physical sensation carries the emotional weight. Your chest might feel tight from sadness, your jaw clenched from anger. Don't force these sensations to go away. Instead, breathe into them with tenderness. Acknowledge them as visitors. This is Zen mindfulness in action. Neuroscience supports this wisdom. Studies from institutions like Harvard Medical School show that mindful body awareness reduces activity in the brain's default mode network, the very region associated with rumination and emotional overdrive. What this means is that through gentle attention, we begin to interrupt the loops of emotional reactivity, making space for the parasympathetic nervous system to engage and allow true rest. In this space of stillness, healing mantras again find their purpose, not as affirmations to override your emotions, but as anchors to keep you rooted while they pass. Whispering, Om Shanti, peace, or this too shall pass, with each breath becomes an act of surrender, not escape. You're not trying to feel better, you're simply allowing the truth of your feeling, without becoming it. One story from Zen tradition tells of a young monk who asked his master how to deal with a great sadness he carried. The master instructed him to sit beside a quiet pond every evening and watch the ripples until they disappeared. When the water is still, the master said, you will see your own face again. That pond is our consciousness. Our emotions, though powerful, are ripples on its surface. And through stillness, we regain clarity. Emotional reset in Zen is not a dramatic act. It does not happen in a flash of insight or a moment of breakthrough. It happens quietly, often invisibly, in the silence between breaths, in the pause between thoughts, in the compassion we extend to our own brokenness. Each night, as we surrender to deep sleep, we are given the opportunity to release the stories we told ourselves that day, to shed the identities we clung to, and to return to the essence of who we are, soft, open, awake beneath all the pain. So if tonight you lie down with heaviness in your heart, let that heaviness be there. Don't resist it. Place your hand on your chest. Breathe. Feel the earth beneath you holding everything you cannot. And then, without forcing anything to change, invite stillness to sit with you. In that shared silence, you may find that the emotional reset you've longed for doesn't come from fixing your life, but from finally resting in your own presence. Let that be the beginning of deep sleep, not as escape, but as reunion, a return to the calm beneath the storm, a return to your Zen. 4. Fall asleep fast the Zen way. In a culture addicted to speed, stimulation, and endless achievement, falling asleep quickly feels almost like an act of rebellion. In cities across America, the lights never go out, both literally and metaphorically. Even in the stillness of night, our minds remain lit up by unresolved to-do lists, messages unanswered, emotions unattended. The search term, "How to fall asleep fast," generates millions of hits, revealing a collective exhaustion masked by productivity. But Zen offers not a trick, not a sleep hack, but a return to slowness, presence, and sacred surrender. Zen doesn't approach sleep as a problem to be solved. It approaches it as a natural rhythm to be restored. In this way, falling asleep is not something we do, it is something we allow. This perspective shifts everything. The more we chase sleep, the more it eludes us. The more we try to fix our restlessness, the more tangled we become in it. Zen teaches us to stop the chase. Instead of reaching for sleep, we are invited to fall back into the arms of being. One of the foundational Zen practices that supports falling asleep fast is mindful breathing. Not mechanical or forced breathing, but conscious, relaxed, compassionate awareness of the breath. As Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh taught, breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. This kind of breathing is not performance, it is presence. And presence, when practiced in the soft edges of the evening, becomes the bridge between wakefulness and rest. Imagine this. You're lying in bed, eyes closed, the world finally quiet. Instead of mentally replaying your day or worrying about tomorrow, you begin to follow your breath, not to manipulate it, but to meet it. You say silently with each inhale, I am here. And with each exhale, this moment is enough. These simple phrases, like gentle mantras, lull the nervous system into trust. They signal safety, and the body, wise and responsive, follows that cue. Sleep doesn't need to be chased, it needs to be invited. Scientifically, this is not just poetic idealism. Researchers at Stanford and the University of California have demonstrated that slow, diaphragmatic breathing, especially at night, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing cortisol levels, lowering heart rate, and creating ideal conditions for sleep onset. But Zen understood this long before science could name it. The breath, when honored, becomes the medicine for those who struggle with anxiety-induced insomnia, especially among Americans between the ages of 25 and 55 juggling careers, family, and identity. Zen offers an elegant antidote: non-resistance. In traditional Zen teachings, effort is the obstacle. The more we try to achieve stillness, the more elusive it becomes. Instead, we soften. We stop struggling against the moment. We say inwardly, "This moment, just as it is safe enough for me to rest." And that simple act of inner permission becomes a portal. A deeply effective technique used in Zen-inspired sleep meditations is breath counting, known as Susokukan. Here's how it works. With each exhale, you count from 1 to 10. When you reach 10, start again. If your mind wanders, and it will, gently return to 1. This humble practice engages the mind just enough to prevent overthinking, while inviting the body into calm repetition. For many, it brings on sleep before the third round. Additionally, creating a Zen sleep space supports this process. The Zen aesthetic is rooted in simplicity, natural elements, and spaciousness. Your sleep environment should reflect this. Clear clutter from your nightstand. Use soft, warm lighting, ideally candlelight or amber tones. Consider introducing calming elements: a stone, a bamboo plant, a singing bowl. Let your bedroom become a sanctuary of stillness, not a storage unit of stimulation. Beyond techniques, the most powerful Zen teaching around sleep is perhaps this: you are not broken if you can't sleep. You are simply over-engaged. Over-engaged with thought, with expectation, with pressure. Sleep will not come through fixing yourself. It comes through allowing yourself to return to what is already whole. And what is already whole is your breath, your body, your presence in this moment. Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn, a pioneer in mindfulness-based stress reduction, echoes this truth. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. When applied to sleep, the meaning becomes clear. We cannot control every thought or stressor, but we can learn to rest within them, to surf the gentle wave of breath, mantra, and surrender until we drift into deep sleep, not by force, but by flow. So tonight, turn off the light not as a signal to fight for sleep, but as a gesture of faith. Trust the rhythm, trust the breath, whisper a mantra, let the thoughts pass without serving them tea. Let your body unclench, let your heart rest, and slowly, gently, without trying, you will fall asleep, not as an escape from life, but as a return to its most peaceful expression. Zen sleep is not about shutting down. It's about waking down into softness, into slowness, into the sacred art of letting go. 5. Wake up restored with Zen awareness. There is something profoundly sacred about the moments just after waking, when the world has not yet rushed in, and the mind is still soft like dew on morning grass. In Zen, this is not simply a transition from sleep to waking, it is a chance to begin again. To wake up is not just a physical act, it is a spiritual invitation. And when deep sleep has been nurtured with intention, stillness, and healing mantras, the act of waking becomes an extension of the practice itself. Most people rise and reach for their phones before their feet touch the floor. Notifications flood the mind before the first conscious breath, but Zen encourages a different approach, to begin the day the same way we ended it, in presence. As Zen Master Dogen once wrote, each moment is all being, is the entire world. Waking up with Zen awareness means honoring that moment as complete in itself. Not rushing toward the next task, not bracing against the day, but allowing the first breath to be about a life. When we sleep deeply, not merely in physical rest, but in emotional and spiritual surrender, we don't just rest, we repair. The nervous system resets, the subconscious digests what the conscious cannot, and the soul returns to its center. Waking up from this depth is like returning from a pilgrimage. The body feels lighter, the mind is less frantic, and most importantly, the heart is ready to meet life again, not from fear, but from clarity. Zen doesn't aim for perfection, it invites authenticity. To wake up restored doesn't mean you leap out of bed with joy every morning. It means you meet yourself honestly, without judgment. Perhaps there is still some tiredness, some lingering sadness, or uncertainty. That's okay. What has changed is your relationship to those feelings. You are not fighting them. You are aware of them, gently holding space for them as you return to your day. In the Zen tradition, morning rituals are not elaborate, they are intentional. A few mindful breaths, a cup of tea enjoyed in silence, a moment of bowing before the sun rises, whispering a simple phrase, "Thank you for this new beginning." These are not just spiritual performances, they are acts of integration. They remind us that the quality of our awakening shapes the quality of our living. This is the true gift of deep sleep paired with Zen awareness, the capacity to begin anew, not as escape, but as engagement with life on new terms. When you've been held through the night in the arms of mantra, of stillness, of sacred sound, you wake up not only rested, but remembering who you are beneath the noise. You are not your to-do list. You are not your mistakes. You are not the story your fear tells you. You are breath. You are being. You are here. And that awareness, carried gently into the morning, changes everything. You speak more softly. You respond instead of react. You listen more than you interrupt. You hold space for others. Because you've finally held space for yourself. The transformation is not loud, but it is lasting. Practical practice. Your gift for staying until the end. If you are still here, at the end of this video, here is your reward. Regular practice will help you transform your own life for the better. The Zen morning practice, 5 minutes. Tomorrow morning, before reaching for your phone, place your hand on your chest. Take 3 deep, slow breaths. Say softly, "I am awake. I am safe. I begin again." Then, sit in silence for 2 minutes. No thoughts to chase, just your breath, your presence. Let this be your emotional and spiritual reset, not only at night, but at dawn. Repeat this every day. In time, your mornings will no longer feel rushed, but rooted. Your life, no longer reactive, but responsive. This is how peace becomes practice, and practice becomes life. Thank you for joining this sacred space of rest and reflection. If this touched something in you, or helped you sleep more deeply and rise more clearly, consider subscribing to our channel. Buddhism in You. Here, we journey together, not only to sleep well, but to live well, to grow in presence, balance, and inner wisdom, one breath, one mantra, one mindful step at a time. See you tomorrow night, here,